What's going on, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time in your day to hang out with me. I really appreciate it. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a talk about budget commander cards. These are cards that are under $1. Some of these you can even get the foil under $1, which is awesome. I love talking about budget cards. It's so fun. Just talk about things that you can get in Commander. Like, there's a lot of stuff that is expensive that you can definitely spend your money on, but you can also just build a budget deck, and there's some really great budget cards that you can get. So, let's just, like, jump into this video. And, yeah, I can't believe we're on part 13. That's insane to think about. Okay, the first card I want to talk about is Corrupted Conscience. And, gosh, I was talking about this card with my friend Trav, like, couple of days ago, whatever, and he was just like, this card is so good. And I was like, you're right. And I can't believe this card is like as cheap as it is. It blows my mind. So it's kind of a lot of mana, but I think this is like a fine card to run because you can not only control someone's creature, but not only that, but you have infect with that creature, so you can steal someone's command or whatever. I think like the really awesome thing about this card is you can be very like, play the card with three options. One option is just that card that they have, we can't let them have it. I can have it and that's okay. The second option is I just want to kill someone with infect. And then the third is like a combination of the two. And I think that's what's really cool about this card is you can just be like, I'm going to take someone's commander so that they can't kill me with commander damage. Then I can kill whatever. You know what I mean? There's so many options about what you could target with this card. I watched him just play it and I was like, this is so good. And he's like, more people should run this card. And I was like, you're right. This card's awesome. The next card is Plasm Capture. And to be honest with you guys, I feel like a lot of my favorite counter spells in Commander are actually like not mono blue. Like, I find myself really enjoying a lot of like the more offbeat path commander spells. Plasmcatcher is one of them. I think this card is so incredibly cool. I don't currently play with this card, but I think this card's awesome and I really miss casting it. I originally had this in Tasigur, and then it just got cut for like other stuff. Because I'm pretty sure I took it out for like one of the creatures that does the counter spells, you know? But it's 4 mana, and you counter target spell at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase. You add X mana, any combo of colors to your pool, where X is that spell's CMC. So it's really great in a pinch, because you can counter anything, which is great. It is 4 mana, which might seem like a little bit of the cost, but I love the fact that you get the mana. You could just like counter their 12 mana thing, and you just casually get 12 mana in any combo to your pool. So good. To be very, very honest with you, I am shocked that this card is not more money, and I kind of don't understand why this card isn't more money, and that is Lavinia. We're talking about Azorius Renegade, and basically how I discovered this card is I'm looking through binders for my friend Chuck, and Chuck is one of my favorite people alive, and he has like, looking through his binders is like such a treat because he just has like the coolest stuff, and like he has like all these staples and all these cool awesome cards, and then some cards that like we'll talk about in a minute that like are more like on like, he knows cards that like other people don't know about. And anyways, he has like this stack of Lavinias, and we're doing this trade. And at the time that I got it, it was like, I think it's actually gone up in price. It's the one, it's the full art, like extended one. And I literally think at the time it was like 30 cents, and it went up in price a little bit. And that's why he was like, I'm speccing on this card right now. And I was like, I think this card is so incredibly good. The more I discover who I am as a Magic player, the more I'm like, I'm literally just a Death and Taxes player. Like, let's be very honest here. I snatched this card up and put it in Ladies, and I also love that it's lower CMC because I feel like that CMC is actually dropped pretty significantly, which I really like. So it's 2 mana, and it says each opponent can't cast non-creature spells with converted mana cost greater than the number of lands they control, and whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, you counter it. This just shuts down that Plasm Capture that we just chatted about earlier, like... She's so good for both those reasons. The last part might not be the most relevant thing. It could be. But it's really for her other ability. You're just shutting down your opponents and making them just not cast things, which is amazing. And she's only 2 mana. like, if you're playing Azorius colors, I would definitely think to include her. Even, like, that's the thing, too, that I think I really love about, like, Death and Taxes, is you don't have to build a D&T deck. You don't have to. You can just run cards like this in there, and that's fine. She's awesome. I love her. Okay, the next card is Rally the Ranks. I love this card. I think, I don't know what it is about Anthem effects, but Anthem effects just, like, get me. Like, they're so adorable and cute. And these, like, Rally the Rank-esque, like, effects, like, there's been a ton of cards that, like, do the same thing, where you choose a creature type and then they get +1/+1, which is great. So if you're playing a tribal deck, I definitely include this. I run this card in Layla, and I really enjoy it. And then a card that's very similar to this that I wanted to talk about as well is called Thunderclap. I don't know how to say that last thing, so I'm not going to say it. I elect to not say it, because you don't need to hear that. This card's really cool, and I think, like, this card's only ever printed... Nope, do not let me lie to you. Okay, now this card's been printed more than once. Okay, I thought I was going to say something been printed one time, but that was vastly incorrect. No, this card's really cute. It's 4 mana for a 2/3. It's got Flash, which I really love. One of my favorite things to do with this is, like, you know, you have, like, all your dudes, right? And then, you know, someone goes to, like, attack or whatever because they think that they got you, and then you flash this dude in. And you're like, all my team gets +1/+1. Like, how fun is that? This card's awesome. And it's a creature, too. So I think, like, if you're playing Anthem effects, which is really great, and you're playing a bunch of flyers, why not play this card? Everything that's a flyer, every creature that's a flyer gets +1/+1, which is awesome. This card's great. Okay. Kind of like what we were talking about earlier with, like, Chuck. He knows about a lot of cards that are more, like, not as traditional. And one of my personal favorite cards is Thoughtpicker Witch. This card is printed a total of 1 time, I believe, in Cold Snap, I believe. That is the set name. And not a lot of people know this card. And this card is awesome. And then actually, funny enough, we were talking about this card for some reason. I don't remember why. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I need one. And we're looking through his cards that day, and there's a foil one, and I'm like, my heart is made, and yes, I did get the foil, which was so incredibly exciting. This card is so good. Like, I don't even know how more people don't know about this card, and how more people don't run this card. This card is incredibly powerful for so many reasons. Let's break it down. First off, it's a 1 mana 1/1. Second off, the ability to do this is 1 mana. You do not have to tap it. You could do it as many times as you want. Keep in mind, you do have to sacrifice a creature. Who cares? Sacrifice your tokens. Sacrifice your thing that when it dies, you get your effect. You sack a creature. You look at the top two cards of target opponent's library, and you remove one of them from the game. You get access to information. This is so cool. One of, like, my favorite things to, like, do with a card like this is you have your Thoughtpicker Witch, right? You sacrifice one thing. You look at those 2 cards and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to get rid of both of them. So you can get rid of one of them and then sacrifice another creature and then look at the 2 cards again. And let's just say that that second card is a land. Okay, boom, just get rid of that and they draw a land. You can target someone so aggressively. I think this card is so cool. You can use it instant speed too. Someone plays their Worldly Tutor, puts that thing on the top of their library, and you're like, Thoughtpicker Witch, and exile it from the game. Blows my mind. You should buy this card and play it in something because it is an absolutely amazing, underutilized, incredibly affordable card. We love this card. Okay. Knight of the White Orchid. Orchid. Why does that orchard? Why am I having difficulty saying words today? I have no idea. This card is, like, I have very, like, fond memories of this card because this was at a time where, like, I started playing Magic when, like, there weren't really white mana stuff. I mean, there's still really not. But there was really nothing. Like, this was it. You know what I mean? Like, this was it. This is what we had, and this is, like, you know, we lived with it. This card's just really cute. If you're, like, really in a pinch where you just, like, really need lands, and you are just, like, on a budget, and you are like, please give me just cheap stuff that I can do, you know, Thoughtpicker Witch, or Knight of the White Orchid. I'm still thinking about Thoughtpicker Witch. It was card on my mind. That's how much I love that card. Knight of the White Orchid, or Knight, this card. we know, it's got a picture, you know it, is so incredibly good. So it's got First Strike, which is pretty cool. I mean, whatever. And then enters the battlefield if an opponent controls more lands than you, search all your favorite planes. It doesn't say non-basic. It doesn't say basic, which is great, so you get a non-basic. If you want, if you're playing this in a multicolored deck, you can get your fetch land or your dual land or like whatever, which is awesome. And yeah, it enters the battlefield. Doesn't have battlefield tap too, which is really cool. So I'm a fan. I think this card's cute. Oh my god. Cold-Eyed Selkie. I love this card. I didn't have this actually in my original Merfolk list when I first built Zagana Merfolk, and I remember like trading for this card one day, and I was like, let me just like give this a try and whatever. I can always like take it out if I don't like it. And oh my gosh, this card is awesome. If you are running these colors, to be honest with you, like the best case scenario I think for this card is you're playing this with some sort of buffs, because to play this card on its own, just as a 1/1, is like fine, and it's not bad. It's got Island Walk, which is really cool and really convenient, but the best case scenario is when you're playing something with a little bit of like buff, or like you're playing, let's just say, like equipments or something like that, or you're playing just cards that like make this card bigger, because even this card is like a 3/3 or a 4/4 is like still you're drawing 3 or 4 cards, which is incredibly good. So I really like this card a lot. I think it's just like really cool, and I like it. So yeah, cool. This is a newer card. This is from Innistrad, the new one, and this is called Sigardian Savior. This card reminds me a lot of Karmic Guide in a lot of really cool ways. So it's 5 mana for a 3/3 flyer. It enters the battlefield if you cast it. Return up to 2 target creature cards with converted mana cost 2 or less from your giver to the battlefield. I think this in a Blink deck is so incredibly powerful. I think this in an Alesha Who Smiles at Death deck is so perfect. I think if you're playing a bunch of things that are lower, like CMCs, yeah, which is really cool. So you can return up to 2 things, which I think is really cool. And then you're left with a 3/3. And then if you blink it, you can do it multiple times, which is really cool. So I think this card's really cool. I like it. And the last card for this video is a card called Bred for the Hunt. And this is if you're playing Possumcatters, or you're interested in building that, because green-blue does that really well. And this says, whenever a creature you control with a Possumcatcher on it deals combat damage, you may draw a card. This is like a really simple thing, but I love these types of like enchantments, whatever, that stay on the field, that you constantly get to draw cards whenever something happens, whenever you put mana into it, or in this case, whenever something with a Possumcatcher on it deals combat damage, you just get to rack up those cards and you draw all those cards, which is awesome. So guys, that is everything for talking about 10 commander cards that you can run that are under $1. I'd really love to know what cards that you really like from this list. If there's any that you're going to pick up, let me know what some of your other favorite budget cards, and they might be featured in a future part. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I'll catch you in my next one.